Welcome to Divisive Issues, a comic book podcast where we talk about comic books. I'm Ryan.
I'm Sly.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Darryl.
We made it, guys. This is it.
We say it every time. We always made it. We never not make it.
Well, you wouldn't hear us if we didn't make it.
That's true.
If you hear this episode, you know we have made it, audience.
And so has Superman. He's made it.
Spoilers.
This is the Return of Superman podcast.
Oh.
The title spoils it.
Maybe he'll die again?
No, they specifically say, this can never happen again.
Yeah, they do. So this is it, the big finale to our Death of Superman mega arc. How many episodes has it been?
This is our
Four, five,
fifth?
four.
Four.
This is
Or
fifth.
five.
Yeah, Death, the two World Withouts, Reign, and now number 5.
We did 2 World Withouts?
Yeah.
Oh my god. This has been a really long journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the World Without
I like how
was-
we spent the most on those shittiest ones.
Yeah,
Well, that's pretty much a par for the course.
yeah, that's what we do. Well, somebody had to talk about the elongator man for 10 fucking minutes.
This isn't good issues, it's divisive issues.
Yeah. So, speaking of good issues, let's go. Let's do this. Let's
What,
see
you
how
just-
Superman comes back.
You think this was good, huh?
Yeah, I do. Spoilers. Phil, go.
Spoilers. Me too. Let's start. Okay. So the first issue we get of the Return of Superman arc is when that giant alien warship that we mentioned last episode just starts dropping balls on Coast City.
They're called carnage orbs? Carnage globes,
Yes.
excuse me.
Yeah, they're not green balls. They're carnage orbs. It's cooler.
Carnage globes.
Carnage
yes.
orbs.
They're the
Globes!
Carnage Globe. Carnage Globes. Great
Okay.
name. Let's drop the Carnage of Globes.
That's what Phil calls his balls.
Yeah, obviously. And then the White House sends Cyborg Superman to go stop it because, as we also established last time, he won the trust by stopping Saddam Hussein or something last time.
Yeah.
Iraqi terrorist.
Yeah. And the last son of Krypton is already at this city. He was still there from his fight with Steel last time.
So, from what I could tell, if Metropolis is like New York City, then Coast City is like, what, LA or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
LA or San Francisco.
Okay. And I will say this issue is, well, I guess I'll say what happens first. Basically, all these balls start falling everywhere, and Cyborg Superman's like, hey, last son of Krypton, you're working with the aliens. And he just basically blows his brains out with these cyborg lasers.
He, from behind, you see all these lasers, go through his body. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, and then he shoots him execution style in the head afterwards.
Yeah. And the Carnage globes that have embedded themselves all around Coast City explode and literally make a crater of Coast City.
Yeah, they atomize the whole city.
And I mean,
7
this
million people.
million.
7 million people die in one instant.
With the exception of the death of the multiverse, I think this is the most casualty-heavy moment in the entire DC universe.
Yeah.
Which
Which is crazy because it comes out of nowhere because the cover of the issue is just Cyborg Superman fighting Last Son of Krypton. So you're like, oh, cool, they get to fight.
Yeah.
I really.
Oh, cool, they do get to fight, but it's pretty minor compared to the fucking nuclear bomb going off behind them.
Yeah, compared to all these lives lost.
No, but this is still to this day, well, not since the reboot, but for a real long time, this event resonated with the DC universe forever. It's like their 9/11.
Good, because I was going to say, it's 7,000 9/11s, so...
Yeah, it's so much worse. I didn't like... This actually made me not like this arc as much because of how much it felt like it meant nothing, because the whole setup of this whole story was Superman trying to stop Doomsday from killing everyone, and he succeeds and dies for it, and then they're just like, okay, blow up 7 million people. They even make a comparison in this to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where they're like, that's the last time this bad thing has happened. But no, Hiroshima and Nagasaki together were like 200,000 people, which is a lot, but 7 million.
This city, though, this event it's not just for the shock value of this. They had plans in the Green Lantern book that we will probably do episodes on eventually, but this is an event that didn't just happen here. They didn't just fridge this whole city. It actually has a big purpose.
But I do get what Phil's saying, because I kind of, it's hard to not seem hypocritical saying this story is good while Man of Steel and the destruction porn they have in those films.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But and I do think it's a good story, but 7 million is egregious. Like, it is.
I think it's a good story too, but
Part of
like,
the problem
again,
is just like Phil was saying, within the story itself, it doesn't feel like they're being properly mourned. Like the first time I was getting that some like people were upset is during a Green Lantern issue of this later on that we read, where finally someone was like appalled that this happened, because Superman for the most part is like, wow, these other Supermen are pretty good Supermen.
Yeah,
I mean, spoilers.
and also, like, you're saying that they had plans to blow up Coast City as like a major event, and that's fine, but like by some random aliens with big green balls, like
that's fair.
It's like 9/11ing them over and over, like forever, by some random aliens.
but to be fair, spoilers: the person who's 9/11ing them is.
Can we not call it that? Maybe.
Okay, who's Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
That's also terrible.
So so the guy who's doing this, spoilers, is a yellow alien called Mongo, who is basically Darkseid Light. In the comics,
literally
tan side. He's not quite dark enough.
Yeah, but like instead of fighting Darkseid, Superman usually fights Mongol instead, and Mongol's leader of Warworld. So it's like he's like a big level threat, and so like it's not like nothing.
No, but he's not even the leader here, though. It's just one of these Supermen.
But
spoilers, as Cyborg Superman blows up Last Son of Krypton, he's like, I'm working with the aliens, so do this for me, Mongol.
Yeah, he flies back up to the ship and Mongol kisses his steel-plated fist.
Yeah, but Last Son of Krypton, the whole time he's just confused, like, why are you helping the aliens? Why are you helping us? And he's just dying, getting shot in the face, and then blown up by a nuclear bomb. But he does survive as an NG form and starts flying towards the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he runs back home as Energy Man, as Dr. Manhattan. And then, like we said, we get introduced to Mongol, and Cyborg Superman's like, I'm the leader here, and now that I've blown up Coast City and killed 7 million people in one panel, I'm going to do this to Metropolis.
It was 2.
Yeah.
It was a splash page, and it was a pretty impressive
And
splash
he
page.
also, at this point, more globes fall, and they start building Engine City, where Coast City was.
Which is actually kind of cool that they immediately are using this space as a new.
Yeah, they're like terraforming the city into their own.
Yeah.
Although, why blow up completely instead of just build this engine city somewhere else? But I guess it's cool to kill all these people.
They do it just to they do it just to fucking kill people. Like
it's like when Lex in the last episode when Lex killed that lady just because he could.
Yeah.
But this is like 7 million of that.
Yeah.
The only other thing that really happens is Cyborg Superman calls the White House. And he's like, I can't see anything. There's definitely not an Engine City here.
Yeah.
Also,
and he tells the government that
Last Son of Krypton did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last Son of Krypton's work with the aliens. Also, there's nothing left. Don't come look in the smoke. Stay away. And they're like, should we send troops and rescue? He's like, no. Stay away. Do not look in for an engine.
But he also says that Last Son of Krypton is still around and they're fighting each other and the alien horde that's there at the moment. Right. And he doesn't want people to get in the way.
Yeah. And the other Superman from the last from the last story, the one that woke up and he's like, I'm probably the real Superman, also gets in a giant mech suit and he's like, I'm going to walk across the ocean.
And this mech suit is completely ripped off Warhammer 40k. I swear to God. It's the Terminator armor.
I was wondering why it had like the eagle on its chest.
If you Google right now Warhammer Terminator armor, it's his war suit.
This comic does take a lot of influence from different things. Anime, Warhammer, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So he's like, I gotta go to Metropolis, and he gets in this little pod in this giant mech suit, and he just walks through the ocean.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
And that's the whole first issue, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So now Adventures of Superman 503.
So now it opens with one of my favorite jokes, where Cyborg Superman is in like the ruins, and he finds his family.
Oh man, this was I like this.
Yeah, and they're like, thank God, Cyborg Superman, you're here, you can save us. And he's like, look out, the evil Superman's right behind you. And then they all turn around, and standing behind them, he vaporizes them, and he's like, I told you he was behind you.
And he calls up the government, and they're like, what is that? And he's like, let me see. And then he's like, oh, it's just some wounded animals I put out of their misery.
Yeah.
It's a good way to show someone being like really evil. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with Doomsday, like crushing the deer, but here it's like he has malice for humanity. You can tell.
And he fucking makes a quip about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does that throughout this, though.
Yeah, he's evil. He's joking about it, like, murder people.
Yeah. Man, I really love this issue because there's a lot of really ridiculous jokes in it. So now smash cut to Superboy, who's playing the Death of Superman Super Nintendo game. Or no, I think
Yeah.
it's an Atari game.
Which is crazy how it already came out.
Yeah, and
It must have been really rushed game.
it's him and his like.
That's like playing a 9/11 game right now.
Yeah, and it's his publicist's daughter and him are playing, the one that she like kissed him to convince him to sign contracts.
Yeah.
And he makes some really lewd jokes to her. He's like, maybe next time, what does he say? He's like, maybe next time you be Superman and I'll knock you on your back. And she's like, ooh, hee, hee. And then her dad says to him, I'm her dad, please stop doing this. I don't want to listen to this.
Which is funny because he has her there to seduce him in this manner.
Yeah, but like, there's a difference between being like, oh, just like bat your eyes and be cute, and like, he's like, I'm gonna plow your daughter, and you're
Yeah.
gonna watch.
Yeah.
So now, Superboy sees on the news this horrible thing in Coast City.
Tana Moon basically comes in and she's like, oh, look what's on the news, all this shit happened. And also, we also get a glimpse of her at the reporter station, and it's pretty obvious that all the other reporters don't respect her. They just view her as a Superboy reporter.
Yeah, and
So-
she wants to go cover Coast City, and they're like, no, you're a joke, fuck you.
Yeah, so that's why she's willing to go along with all this shady shit that Vincent Edgelord is doing, because basically she knows like this is her only chance of ever being a reporter. Like, she got rejected so many times, and everyone here doesn't like her. So if she loses Superboy, she just fucked for life.
Yeah, and she also says like, oh, we've become such good friends, and Superboy's like, yeah, I feel like I've known you my whole life, all 3 weeks of it.
I actually like the scene where she's just like, please be careful, and he's just trying to joke around, being like casual, but like, yeah, up, and I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says, up, and I'm out of here, and he flies out the window. And then we see Superboy goes to Coast City to team up with Cyborg Superman to fight the Last Son. And
Cyber Superman asked him to come over, basically saying, "Oh, that's Superboy kid. He's supposed to be my teen version, right? Maybe it'll be a great team together.
Yeah.
A great team to kill him with."
yeah, he does the Lex like, I'm good. Just kidding, I'm evil.
And then they send some news choppers to go with Superboy too, since he has the contract with
Yeah.
GBS.
And this is
It's great because Cyborg Superman's like, if you guys fly in there, you're going to die.
yeah.
And Superboy's like, "What? You chill out." But Superman's like, "No, you're going to die. Trust me. You are so fucking."
I'm
dead."
pretty sure anyone who comes in here is dead.
Yeah. And at this point, it's also when Cyborg Superman is like joking around Superboy on TV, and he says, I wish I had this much confidence in my powers at his age. And Lois hears that and realizes he didn't have powers when he was a teenager, so maybe this isn't the real Superman.
Which I have a question. Is that true? Because I always thought Clark was like 15 or 16 when he was doing all of his Superman stuff.
At this time in Superman continuity, they got rid of him being Superboy, and now he like towards the end of high school he started developing powers, but like he didn't like have Superboy powers until he was like an adult.
Okay. Basically, puberty started developing powers. Like, now, puberty is the way where most people get powers, because it's weird in the golden age when Superboy was a baby and like picking up his doctor and throwing them around.
But I mean, like, again, like this Superboy is still like he's a teenager, and that's why I thought.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, like, Clark definitely couldn't fly. Even in Smallville, like, flying was like one of the biggest events of that series. Like, Superman couldn't fly.
Spoilers.
Fuck you! Like, everything's a spoiler. Nothing. You can't fucking say anything about showing up.
It's a joke.
It's a
Let it
joke.
go.
But anyway, one of the biggest landmarks is Superboy. Like, even if you say Superboy had powers at this time, they were nowhere near the level that this Superboy had at this time. Like, he couldn't fly, first of all.
Okay.
So at this point, Cyborg Superman and Superboy are going into the Coast City ruins, and Superboy is like, "Don't worry, reporters. Or the army helicopter. Like, I'll protect you." Right after Cyborg's like, "No, you're definitely gonna die," and then Cyborg kills them all. And Superboy has like this really sad moment where, just like we saw with Steel last episode, where he's like, "I said I would protect them, and you made me a liar."
And one thing I like is Superman's like, I said they would die here. And Superman always keeps his word and says, being shit at Superboy.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
he has to be a fucking corny asshole while he's doing this.
Yeah, and
Look behind you. I'm behind you.
it's awesome. I think it's great because it's so like cheeseball villain.
Yeah.
But Superboy and Cyborg Superman start fighting. Superboy's powers are like still on the fritz, but more severe now because I guess the plot demands it.
Yeah,
And-
we learned that one of the powers that he has that Superman doesn't have is that he can disassemble mechanical parts.
And this is something I wanted to mention because they make a big deal about this in the story, but later on, Superboy calls it his tactile telekinesis. and he mentions it all the time. And when he's in Young Justice, every time he's like, "Guys, I'll use might," the rest of the team is like, "We fucking know it's tactile telekinesis. It's the only thing you can do that Superman can't. Shut the fuck up about it."
But one thing to clarify, Ryan is saying that his powers were on the fritz. His parents weren't on the fritz. What was happening throughout the whole entire series was they were hinting that his powers weren't Superman's powers. He doesn't have Superman's vulnerability.
Yeah.
He doesn't have vision. Like his powers just people assume he has them, and then he gets surprised when he doesn't. Basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
you're right.
He also, I think his revelation of this technology manipulation stuff was so weird because he didn't mean to. He's just like, "Oops, I disassembled his arm or
Yeah,
whatever."
his gun.
Well, the way it works is basically whenever he's panicking, and touching powers.
It's a very like X-Men kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like when you go Super Saiyan accidentally.
And at this point, we see some of Mongol being like, "I should help Cyborg Superman, but I don't want to be his lackey. I'm actually going to betray him."
Yeah, the classic uneasy alliance where he's not.
Well, it's because he's a vassal that doesn't want to be.
Yeah,
the vassal.
And without Mongol's help, Cyborg Superman still like annihilates Superboy, and it kind of seems like he kills him.
Yeah, it just shows Superboy's point of view, and Superboy's like fucking knocked out, saying, "You can't be the real Superman," and Superman just punches him in the face, saying, "You'll never know."
And blood splatters like it's GoldenEye, and you just die.
like it's GoldenEye depths.
I thought they killed him, and I thought like it would be really sad because like he just had that scene with Tana Moon where she's like, "Be careful," and then you see his like head smashed and splattered. I'm like, oh my god, like that's really brutal. But then of course they're not actually gonna kill him.
This is when I started really rooting for Superboy, like despite all his high school shenanigans, like because now he's one of the few hopes for humanity. As we'll see soon, Justice League's not going to be helping anyone.
I was harsher on Superboy when I first read it, but when you pointed out all his development and everything, he's really good in this story. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I liked him more than I expected to, especially after that first issue. Especially because he was born from the Newsboys.
Yeah.
like you start in the worst possible situation, and I'm glad that he climbed out of.
But then the only way to go is up.
Yeah.
And I'm out of here.
So, Action Comics 690. We get to the Fortress of Solitude, and we find out who finally the last son of Krypton is, as the machines put him in the chemical bath, and they try to basically get him out of his illusion and explain who the fuck he is.
This is the first of two really big, long exposition scenes where they...
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's describing... The last son of Krypton is Eradicator, who is a AI that was born from Krypton machinery that Superman had fought in the past when it had corporealized into a person. And then
I've never read this story, so I don't know.
If you watch the Superman the anime series, that version of Brainiac is basically half based on Eradicator. Eradicator is basically
that makes sense.
Just an AI from Krypton supposed to preserve Krypton's legacy, and basically he tries to preserve, like basically just like the Krypton ship in Man of Steel. It basically tries to preserve Krypton's legacy at the expense of Earth's life, and Superman's like, Krypton had a chance and blows it up too, just like he blows up that fucking baby ship.
Yeah.
I think it's there's another thing that complaint I had about this last story arc is like, I know you have the four Superman show up as like mystery characters a while ago, and now you want to see who they really are, but a lot of these issues then felt like this is the issue where we tell you about who this guy actually is.
It definitely is, but
and it's just like all these little robots being like, who's Eradicator? Here's who he is, and it's the whole issue.
And also, just to clarify, the robots at the Fortress of Solitude, if you ever watched the Fantastic Four 70s cartoon, they all look like Herbie the Robot.
Yeah.
You know, the super popular cultural touchstone.
Yeah,
Let me explain these robots by this obscure reference.
Go look it up, fuckers.
If you guys have seen the 1993 Fantastic Four movie, the best one of them all.
Just fun fact about Herbie the Robot. In the 70s cartoon show, they didn't have the rights to Human Torch, so they replaced the fourth member with one of these fucking robots, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you get the rights for 3 of the 4 characters?
Basically, because like Human Torch, they basically licensed it out for a solo series, and then they like, now we have a Fantastic Four series. Oh shit, I guess we're fucked.
That's so weird.
That's pretty funny.
Superboy is captured during this, and he gets interrogated by both Mongol and Cyborg Superman. And Cyborg Superman's reasons for not killing him and keeping him here are really like the best I can come up with is he's like, hey, he could offer me spare parts.
Well, he says like he's curious because fucking clone based on Superman, you shouldn't just kill it and throw it away. Like
he also says, "I wish I didn't kill the Eradicator because I would have liked to study him more and maybe use his power to make myself more powerful too."
Like if and that's one of his big fuck ups. Like if he didn't, we'll see later. If he didn't kill Eradicator or supposedly kill Eradicator, he might have had a better chance of winning this story.
My favorite part about this scene is it's either Mongol or Superboy says, what if Supergirl comes to save Superboy? And Cyborg Superman just laughs in his face. He's like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
You fucking SJW Mongol.
You mean that raisin?
Yeah.
Does anyone else know she's a Raisin Man?
I don't
No,
know.
that's a good question. I don't think they do.
And Superboy, Cyborg Superman also puts up, like, he fakes footage of Superboy being like, no, we saw the last son of Krypton, and he's a bastard.
Yeah, he fakes a news broadcast and even shows like, oh, here's the crater of where the city is, see?
And basically, they have they use this fake footage to have a conference with Justice League, and Superboy like, hey guys, Cyborg Superman's right. You should, but you know what? The last time Krypton flew to space, you should go after him. And Justice League's like, you're right. We didn't help Superman before, but now we're gonna help Superman. And he fly off into space. And
All of them.
Yeah, and Cyborg's like, wow, there's no superheroes on Earth to protect it. I fucking won. Yes.
So I have a question for you guys.
It's gonna be it's my question too, I bet.
Where are the rest of the superheroes that are not the Justice
Oh
League?
wait, not that.
Okay, do you think like a SWAT team's gonna take down the fucking 9/11 style threat, Phil? Like, do you think Daredevil's gonna do shit against fucking the Attack of Manhattan? Like most heroes, the heroes that are on that level are on the Justice League, and Justice League just left.
So there's no other like really super powerful heroes.
But I
besides
mean,
them?
like, Man of Steel isn't someone you would assume is on the same level of Justice League, but he still goes in there to help.
Also, at this point, it seems like the damage is done because they're like, the city's destroyed, the villain is in space. If you can't go to space...
The only reason why Man of Steel goes is because Man of Steel's suspicious about the Cyber Superman. Cyber Superman says, don't go in, don't come here. No one else come here, just so you go into space, everything will be fine.
And that's one of my favorite parts about this, is he says, no one else come here, and for some reason throughout this entire comic, there's not one person that goes there to find out that there's not just that the city's gone, but that there's another city on top of it.
Well, first of all, there's all the smoke in the air, and then...
Okay, so not one person has gone in there to find out.
The GPS crew just went there and you saw it fucking exploded, Darryl.
Yeah, but so they just stopped. They're just like, no one will just go in there now.
They have the Cyber Superman saying, don't come in here, and everyone who's gone there so far is dead. Okay, so I guess everyone should be like, fucking lemmings, going in there one at a time, like, die and die.
Daryl wants a ragtag crew of, like, tornado chasers.
No, I'm saying,
to come in on
how
a
does a
car.
city get built on top of this city and not one person finds out?
It's very dusty. Also, this all happens in a span of, like, a day.
Because also, like, when a volcano erupts or something, there can be dust in the air for, like, months.
Yeah.
Still.
Daryl refuses to believe that, like, when people come to an area and die, like, and one guy says, don't come in here, I'm taking care of it. There's a fucking alien killing people. Please, I
No,
don't want
I'm
people to die
surprised that
here.
there's no one that was, like, driving back to the city that saw it explode and went back
Well,
in.
they actually, no, they do show that Carol Ferris, at one point, Green Lantern's love interest, is like, I'm going to come back to Coast City, and then Coast City gets blown up, and she's like, I'm not going to fucking come back to Coast City now.
Yeah, like what people are like, people say like later on, Lois Lane wants to go to Coast City and investigate, and they say like there's no flights going there. Everyone's basically in panic, get away from it because they're afraid of the fucking
Lois
fallout.
can't even get to Smallville because all westbound flights are canceled.
Yeah, like people are trying to get. So they even have scenes showing Lois and people trying to get in there, and it's so hard to get in there because of all the shit going on around it.
Also, doesn't the military like quarantine everything?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But still unrealistic. It's so fucking bullshit. It's kind of
No, I think it's more silly that like Cyborg Superman showed up 3 weeks ago. He's like, I am Superman, and then he's like, trust me, do not come here. Go to space.
Well, he saved the president. He saved the president twice, and he has Superman's DNA. He has Superman's Kryptonian DNA. Kryptonian metal is fucking hard to fucking fake. Like it is one.
No, I do think that when I first read it, I didn't feel this way, but reading it this time, I was surprised at how quickly everyone jumped onto Team.
I think it's because everyone because logically, why would it not be Superman if it has Superman's DNA and Kryptonian metal? You can't.
That's true.
replicate
And in the
that.
DC universe, like fucking weird shit like this happens all the time.
Yeah, like this, like and like people are willing to trust it because it was. I think they're willing to trust Superman, and this guy, by all accounts, Lois Lane seemed to believe him. Everything I just said. It just seemed,
no, you're right. But
Okay.
anyway, we've spent a long time on this.
Yeah.
The only other thing that really happens is Eradicator also reveals that he couldn't possess Superman's body. He could only like copy it, and he brought his body back and put it in a regenerative matrix.
and that's where he broke out of, which is
That's
kind of
where,
like,
and he put his body there just to keep like kind of sapping his powers.
Yeah.
But revived him, and now he's in that mech suit walking to Metropolis.
And what happened to explain why after that he started acting like Superman was because basically he started getting more delusional and becoming more mentally unhinged. And everyone he's literally the AI in charge of everything in the Fortress of Solitude, and they all basically reinforces the illusion that you're Superman. So then Man of Steel 25. So now, like I said, Man of Steel is suspicious of the Cyber Superman because he fought Eradicator to a standstill and beat the shit out of him just by fucking blinding him. And now Superboy and Cyber Superman...
He actually brings up the same point that Phil and Darryl said last time. Like, how did Man of Steel go toe-to-toe with this guy? And he's like, yeah, if I could go toe-to-toe with this guy, there's no way Superboy and Cyborg Superman couldn't just mop the floor with him.
Yeah, and basically, so now this whole story is basically all parties converging on the Metropolis Airport.
Engine City.
Yeah, but...
Not yet, though.
Yeah, not yet. I just wanted to say it.
So Lois is going because she wants to investigate Coast City. So while they're going towards the airport, Lex detects the fucking Superman mech heading towards Metropolis, and they all think it's a fucking threat. And Supergirl's like, I want to go to Coast City, and Lex is like, no, you can't go to Coast City. Look, this fucking mech heading towards Metropolis. Like, we want
he calls it another Doomsday.
Yeah, another Doomsday's heading here. And so Supergirl goes to stop, but she's like, I'm not going to make one step further. To make it sure it doesn't step one step further, she literally picks it up and throws it over her shoulder. Which is stupid because she's throwing it towards the city, but it's even extra more stupid because Lex is right behind her in this helicopter, and she crushes this fucking helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And you wonder why I call Supergirl a dumb fucking character.
And also, this whole Lex, like, the fact that he's here is so dumb because all he keeps doing is being like, I have to figure out a way to keep Supergirl here. And he's like, and he keeps like maniacally laughing behind her back, like, now she'll stay in Metropolis because of this mech. Like,
well, that's the whole point there. His whole point is basically just make sure Supergirl doesn't leave. Like,
At one point when Darryl was reading this, he texted us, I feel bad for Lex sometimes. Is this when you felt bad for Lex?
I don't want my girlfriend to leave me. I feel lonely.
No, it's later on. There's just more stuff happening against Metropolis where it's like Lex has to protect his city actually a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like there's a missile that's going to be heading out that's going to level Metropolis.
The DC universe is so crazy.
Yeah. It makes sense.
I complain about like sometimes comic universe stuff, but DC's way worse with this where it's like
I don't know. Marvel has
think?
Galactus the Planet Eater show up all the time.
Yeah.
That's true.
So basically, what happened in Coast City is that Superboy, Mongol to backstab Superman, Cyber Superman, he revealed through video footage to Superboy that Cyber Superman is going to Metropolis, and Superboy starts freaking out and it's panicky. Tactile telekinesis, whatever it's called.
Tactile telekinesis
makes his fucking his restraints break, and he starts flying towards Coast City. And he basically arrives. As he arrives there, he hears the commotion at the fucking airport. and when he goes there, basically all converge. And Man of Steel basically heard from the Cyber Superman that Superboy went rogue, and he starts fighting Superboy. And Superboy's like, no, wait, it's the fucking Cyber that went rogue. I'm trying to save the people. And everyone basically like, you know what? That Cyborg is a piece of shit. I think I trust you, Superboy. And they basically, as they're bringing up the shit out of this fucking Superman mech, they're like, we're pretty sure Cyber's lying. We're going to help. After we fucking trash this shit, we're going to go help Superboy fuck up Cyber Superman. And after they trash it, out comes Superman in the black suit.
They say, Cyborg Superman's coming to destroy Metropolis. And he breaks out and he goes, Metropolis over my dead body.
Yep.
Aha,
yeah.
He used to be dead. And he's actually in his dead body, too, I just realized.
Yeah.
Okay, so Superman comes out of this mech wearing all black, and they're like, he's like, I'm Superman, and everyone's like, yeah, we've heard this a million times.
Very important thing to note, he has a mullet.
Yes, this is Mullet Superman.
He looks a bit like Sylvester Stallone in Rambo.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Like a lot, actually.
They also, to add to the fact they don't believe him, he has no powers either.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm Superman. They're like, yeah, we've heard a bunch of Superman. They're like, do Superman things then. He's like, I can't right now. But then he's like, Lois Lane, you know about To Kill a Mockingbird or something?
First he's like, you're Lois Lane, the reporter from Daily Planet. You're the one who gave me the name. And she's like, I've literally heard this like 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
So, no.
Then they go aside to have a private conversation. And he talks about To Kill a Mockingbird, Clark's favorite novel. And then
No. I don't know why this bothers me so much. She says it's his favorite movie.
It's a great movie. It's a pretty fucking great movie too.
I know, but like I don't know why I want Clark Kent to be like a little more red. He's a writer.
Yeah.
I thought he would have read it too.
Before they depart, Lois and Clark gives her the same things he said before he died.
They like reenact the final goodbye, basically.
Yeah, the final goodbye kiss, and then she's like, "Oh, it's definitely Clark now," and then they start flying towards Coast City.
Yeah, and then we go back to Coast City. We see Cyborg Superman telling Mongol he's a piece of shit, and then we get another huge chunk of exposition.
Yeah,
where...
this is the one. The last one only lasted like I'd say like 4 or 5 pages. This is like 8 pages.
Yeah, and it's delivered in the weirdest way. Apparently, Mongol has these like weird pet things that they look like lion babies.
This one guy's a lion with no muzzle.
They're native species. They're native species to his planet.
I know, but it just looks really weird. And they're like, Cyborg Superman, here's his origin.
Yeah, well, one of them is telling the other, he's like, do you know how Cyber Superman became him? And he's like, no. And he's like, well, let me tell you. And he tells him like twice, which is weird. Because he's like, do you get it? And he's like, let me explain again.
He fucking,
But anyway.
he's Gabora, the owl from Ocarina of Time. And he accidentally hits yes, I would like to hear it again at the end.
I can see why he did it, because if they had this exposition at the end, it will throw off the flow of the final battle shit.
Yeah.
But it is weird the way they did it.
It's just really long, and it's basically, we get his backstory where he was Reed Richards or something.
It was quite literally.
He was literally a parody by John Byrne, who's a major Fantastic Four writer. A parody of the Fantastic Four by John Byrne, where instead of getting
He's also a major Superman writer.
Well, yeah, too. He wrote the fucking porn issue. The most important issue of all. But basically, in the story, basically it's a Fantastic Four origin story, except instead of all becoming heroes, they all fucking die from radiation and shit. And this guy basically died and got reborn in technology. And
his body like melts into a computer.
Yeah,
and he dies and becomes technology, and he reforms himself as like a little robot man and goes to his wife, who was I guess Sue Storm in this example, and he's like, I love you still, and she became like distraught over this.
She kills herself,
and she kills herself or dies of heartbreak or something, and then he basically starts fucking shit up, and
he fucks shit up by accident because
yeah.
What happens is he's so technologically advanced, his weird consciousness, AI consciousness. He's actually fucking up Earth's communications, and Superman's like, "Can you please leave?" And basically, he views that as like a Superman trying to force him out because he's too powerful. So he takes Superman's baby ship and flies off of it, which explains why he has the Kryptonian technology later on.
Yeah, and then basically Mongol's sitting somewhere on a little pile of garbage, like crying that he's a piece of trash. And then Cyber Superman shows up and is like, "You're my trash now. Let's go." And Mongol's like, "I'll worship you now." I mean, he beats him into it.
Yeah, he beats him submission.
He teaches him fear, because that's like pain. That's the language he understands.
Yeah.
We actually should clarify the people coming towards Coast City are only Superman, Superboy, and Steel.
And Steel gives Superman an extra set of boots so he can.
No,
fly.
I think it's some LexCorp guy.
Yeah. LexCorp guy.
He's like, "Give me those boots," and he's like, "No way, man!" And Lex Luthor's like, "Give Superman your boots, asshole."
Yeah. And Supergirl can't go because Lex doesn't want her to.
Yeah, Superboy's like, "I'll stay and protect Metropolis. You go get these bastards."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, doesn't he?
No.
Supergirl.
Oh, what did I say?
Supergirl's not even there. Superboy goes with them.
Yeah, Supergirl.
Oh, okay, yeah. Superboy goes with them, but he turns around very soon.
No.
Ryan, stop talking. You're getting all wrong. So, Phil, say right.
So Superman dies again. Right, guys?
Superman is flying in boots. Superboy is going. Steel is going. Lex says to Supergirl, "Don't go. Stay and protect Metropolis in case other walking guys show up and they might be Superman."
Mm-hmm.
So that goes into Adventures of Superman 504.
Okay, so Superboy's gonna turn around soon. Spoilers. That's what I meant.
He's
I thought
not.
this happened
He's
earlier.
not, Ryan. Shut up.
Just because of the missile.
No, he gets into the
He
base.
doesn't turn around. He's
carried there.
He attaches to the missile.
Okay, so this is what happens. So where it's Superman's like expositions how depowered he is. He's like, normally I can get to Coast City in 4 minutes, but now it takes 4 hours. That's a big fucking difference.
Yeah.
But but another great joke. Steel is like, I wonder what's going through Superboy's head right now. He must be going through so much. And Superboy's thinking, man, I wish I could go for a pizza. But then he's like, I really wish I could go for a pizza with Tana. Like, I miss her, and I hope I don't die.
There's a like I said, Carkel's are pretty good with the jokes. When they get into the the actual engine settings are fucking shit up and start fucking up robots. One robot's trying to shoot at Superman, and Superboy fucks up his aim, and he says, "That's weird." At the last minute, my gun jerked away, and Superboy says, "So, jerk's a pretty good word for you, you piece of shit."
Oh, we also didn't mention before, the reason they're making Engine City is to fly the planet.
Oh yeah.
To make Warworld.
Warworld is a planet where it relies on the gravity of the world it's on. Basically, it controls itself, so it can fly around space whenever it wants to. And to do that, it has 4 giant engines on it. And basically, they're recreating that on Earth with Engine City, Metropolis, and 2 more cities being the places where these big giant engines are being built.
Yeah. And then Man of Steel is with Superman, and Superman's like, Man of Steel seems like too long of a name. You're Steel now. And Steel goes, okay, that's cool. And there's another great Superboy joke where Steel's like, you got to take these robots out. And Superboy's like, take them out. They're not even my type.
He makes a lot of jokes, actually, during these fight scenes. Like, Superboy's just joking around the whole time.
He's pretty much a Spider-Man of the group, which I kind of appreciate.
And he stands out. Definitely.
And so to bring up what Ryan was alluding to, Cyborg and Mongo launching a missile toward Metropolis.
Before this, you get Superman being like he's like super Rambo.
Superman's being like super Rambo.
Yeah, like
he
has huge guns and it's all full page spreads. He's like, let's take out these assholes.
Yeah, he has no power, so he has to take the weapons from the fallen enemies. And so
he actually is Rambo here, though. He's dual wielding.
Yeah, he has a rifle in one hand and a gun in the other.
And I know it's like super 90s, but I think it looks really cool.
There's a lot of stuff in this, like I brought up last time. There's a lot of stuff that plays on 90s cliches, and this feels like definitely going in that direction because it's Superman in a black suit and holding guns and saying, everyone always said I'm the ultimate Boy Scout. We know it's Boy Scout's motto, always be prepared. He just shows up with his guns and starts shooting everything.
Yeah, he's like dual wielding, shooting giant guns.
But I feel like it's played more like fun.
Yeah.
And not like, look how edgy this is. But like Sly was saying, they're launching a giant missile to Metropolis, and this is when Superboy grabs on, and he's like, I could stop this. You guys take out that guy.
And the missile is basically going to do with Metropolis what the big ship did to Coast City. Like, it has the green balls inside of it, and it's going to unleash them.
So that's really the end of the issue. Oh, and then the missile... No, so Superboy is... he saves the city... And
so Ryan was hyping stuff for so long. Now he's going to skip over it. Yeah, the missile, whatever.
Superboy saves the city with the missile, but then it explodes still in his hands, and everyone thinks he's dead. Again.
Yeah, because he veers it away from the city before it hits, and then they blow up in the sky. And it's got the sad thing of like Tana was doing the reporting on it, and she just starts crying because
the same way Lois did with Superman.
I actually really love this scene because
I really love this.
Tana is like trying to, because every time Tana gets emotional during the report when Superboy's in danger because she cares about him. Her cameraman's always like, you're on the air, you gotta be professional. And here, they keep doing that, and she's like, come on, keep going. And she's like tearing up, trying to be composed. And she's like, I can't do it. He was my friend, and she just breaks down crying.
Yeah.
On the TV.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then what happens?
Action Comics 691.
Yeah, secret weapon. So now this is back to Steel and Superman going through the base. And they fight a bunch of dudes, and Superman is specifically using his guns and his X-ray vision to find out where to separate the organics from the inorganics, and he's shooting all the robots but not killing the dudes.
Very hand-wavy Superman stuff that he does.
Yeah, and Steel, that's why Steel starts to think it's like, wow, this guy really is the real deal because, you know, he's doing what
actually
he's
compassionate.
preaching. Yep.
It turns basically as they're doing all this shit, Steel notices that the Superman seems to be able to fly on his own. He seems to be able to knock people back without touching them.
Yeah, there's like some weird instances during a fight where like an enemy goes flying and they're like, who hit him?
And basically, long story short, it turns out that Supergirl followed them invisible.
I keep forgetting she can turn invisible.
And she carried him there. He was like, I'm wearing the rocket boots just for show.
No, because this is actually I really like they explain this way because
you like this.
No, Steel explains that the reason why he went to the airport was because he can't fly all the way to Coast City because then he's going to run out of engine fuel before he even gets there. And so Superman was like, I'm going to fly to Coast City in my engine boots. And they say Superboy basically gave him a boost, and now Supergirl gave Superman a boost. So basically, it makes sense. It explains that why they didn't all just fly towards it in the first place.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense, but I find it very silly that Supergirl's just been invisible hiding for like hours. It took 4 hours to get here.
I just felt like this was so much like having to write and justify things that it could have been simplified in some sort of way. But like I'm Superman. I use my boots to fly over here since I can't fly yet. But actually, Supergirl was flying me there.
I find it really silly.
She could also have done it not invisible and just
No, because she didn't want Lex to know, and basically,
Know,
and
but
also,
why have that storyline?
no, but she wanted Lex to know. First of all, okay, guys, fuck you. I'm gonna explain it. She wanted Lex to know. She didn't want Lex to know, and also they explained it that they wanted Cyborg Superman to have as little information on them as possible, so they would keep it visible as long as possible.
Oh, okay. They do say that.
That's why it's called Secret Weapon. Get how fucking is she called Secret Weapon? She's literally Secret Weapon.
You're right. Fuck us.
Okay.
And you guys wonder why I get mad and try yelling at you guys, because you guys don't fucking read what your fucking book says.
I do read. I still don't like it. I don't like her. I don't like her flying in. I'm fine with her being the secret operative that's invisible to evade the cameras and take them out. Like, that's cool.
But the fact that she's been like holding his butt for 5 hours is silly.
All right, but what I think it's fine. I think you do a lot to try to maintain a secret weapon like Supergirl.
No, I know.
Anyway, the missile explodes in the sky that Superboy is trying to stop, and his body flies into some rubble.
Garbage dump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not rubble.
No, because Superboy's like, where am I? And why does it smell so bad?
Yeah, Lex sees him. And he's like, Superboy! And he's like, don't call me Superboy.
And Lex starts beating the shit out of him, saying, where's my Supergirl, you piece of shit? He just sees the planet and he's like fucking wrecked. And he's like, where's my fucking Supergirl, you piece of shit?
Evil Lex. And then, in the Fortress of Solitude, we have Eradicator who's slowly coming back to life inside his little
No, he's just like an
suit.
old man instead of an energy force.
So now they use basically what happens, what Eradicator does is, he says, like, this whole fucking Fortress of Solitude is powered by Kryptonian's energy. I'm gonna just take it all and to feel myself because Superman needs me now. So basically, he just wrecks the Fortress of Solitude. It fucking explodes, and he flies out of it, saying, "Now the fucking Cyborg is gonna feel Krypton's might."
Yeah.
Fucking badass.
Vengeance will be mine.
He is cool. Mongol's like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck Cyborg Superman. I'd rather just kill everyone here than have his plan work. And I'm just gonna turn on the one engine.
The one engine, and it's just gonna push Earth out of orbit and destroy it.
He also says, like, I don't give a shit about Earth anyway. I want it to die anyway. Like, fuck this planet. Like,
Yeah.
I only wanted it because I thought it was gonna be another world, but this Cyborg Superman is so fucking competent. It's not gonna happen. So why?
Yeah, it's not worth the effort.
Yeah.
I wish the Guardian was here.
Yeah, it's a shame he's not doing a lot to help out.
Superman, why have you not taken down this engine already?
That was Darryl's real problem with where are all the other heroes? Where's Guardian? How come he's not rushing to Coast City?
Yeah, actually,
On his motorcycle.
That is a good question. Like, why didn't Cyborg Superman be like, I have to get Guardian out of Cadmus?
It would have taken him like a 4-week road trip.
Yeah, Guardian, drive to Canada. He's like, okay.
So now Superman and Man of Steel 26. And just to clarify, when we were talking about how they wanted to keep Supergirl hidden from the cameras and everything, it was because Cyber Superman is literally connected to the entire fucking Engine City. He can see everything that's going on at all times with his cyber powers, like he did.
Yeah, so his technology, the spirit thing, like he actually can inhabit any type of metal and become it. Like in his exposition story, he like became metal to talk to his wife. He fought Superman in the past, I think.
Yeah.
He talked to
as,
Mogul as a half metal person.
And also, we were talking about how him putting the tracer on Doomsday made no sense. But in the later story, it reveals that Doomsday was a backup plan. He's basically going to use Doomsday as a weapon to fuck up shit if this plan went haywire.
Oh.
So, with that knowledge, basically, he locks Supergirl away from the rest of the group. And now Mongo confronts the two of them. And he says, like, Mongo's like, oh, I turn on the engine. Fuck you guys. You're going to die now. And so Steel was like, I'm going to go take care of the engine. Superman, you try to hold off Mongo. And basically, there's a nice moment where Steel reveals that he's John Henry Irons, the steel worker he saved. And Superman's like, oh, yeah, I remember you, the steel worker, showing us.
He has such a great memory. All the people he saved, he's like, I remember you.
He's Superman.
It's nice. It's nice. I
Irons, maybe, but strong as steel.
Yeah. And so Steel goes to turn off the engine. And he's just like, I have no fucking idea what to do. Like, I'm just a fucking guy who makes Iron Man. So I don't know this.
I'm just a weapon expert.
But it's just a fucking a fucking
alien engine reactor.
He made the Toastmasters.
He also made his suit.
I know.
But what happens is that Cyborg starts inhabiting the metal around.
This is my favorite part of the arc.
Yeah, mine too. Second favorite. Second favorite after the next one. Cyborg Superman starts inhabiting metal around him, starts fighting Steel, and basically, Steel realizes I don't know how to turn off this engine, but this Cyborg does. If I can keep talking and bragging, let him teach me how to turn this whole shit off.
I love that Steel uses his smarts.
Yeah.
Because that's what really separates
Yeah,
him.
it's not just his plan, but what I was alluding to being my favorite part is that actually this is done. The art's done by Don Bogdanov.
Yeah, the guy you hate so much.
Yeah, and this is where he starts to shine because it's like this weird, like half Terminator, half alien looking weird machinery that Steel's fighting a whole bunch with like huge teeth and a skull face and a bunch of claws, and he keeps morphing around.
Yeah,
I think it's funny how every time this Superman inhabits metal to fight, he has to make a little face on it. So like sometimes he'll
it looks so funny.
Sometimes he'll like just grab someone's arm with a little face on it, like, "Hey, I'm here."
I think it's because he is still like a human being. Like he's still
he still has like an ego.
Yeah,
I think it's just an easy way for the artist to be like, "Hey, this is where he is."
But it's funny too. it's amusing. It's an effective and amusing little visual trick.
Yeah.
But and here's why I like this issue.
And it can be really scary too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's why I love this issue, because the issue is literally, basically he's using this weird body that's the cyber Shemek constructed, and he basically uses it to fucking trash the engine and jam its gears and everything. And he says like, I'm probably gonna die here, but I'm gonna die like John Henry did. I'm going to die destroying the machine, and I
love that so much.
Yeah, it's a
where he's
cool...
like, I'll literally throw my body into this machine to stop it.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of the Iron Man scene in Avengers 2 when he's like in the blades of the engine.
Yeah, and I like all these. Like it might seem a little bit cheap, but I do like all these cliffhangers of these issues where it's very possible that Steel and Superboy could have died trying to save.
Oh, you definitely feel the stakes here.
I forgot how good the foreshadowing was of him being John Henry Irons, and he's gonna die fighting a machine too.
I just love the John Henry motif here so much.
Same, I do too.
But Cyborg realizes like, my engine's trashed, I'm fucked, but I can at least get Mongol and fuck his shit up and maybe kill this, because now they all start being convinced that this guy's Superman slowly, and he's like, so now I'll have Supergirl rejoin with Superman, and they'll fuck up Mongol, and I'll allow Green Lantern. He realizes Green Lantern's coming because Coast City is Green Lantern City, and I'm gonna have Green Lantern fuck up Mongol, and then once Mongol's gone, I'm gonna kill Superman, and that's the end of the issue. Next issue is Green Lantern 46.
Yes.
And this issue is very simple, but I really love it. Basically, Green Lantern, Phil's always like, oh, where are the superheroes when all this shit's going down? Green Lantern's doing what a lot of heroes do, especially of this power level. He's off in space saving entire planets. And so he's like, oh, it's great that the Green Lantern Corps gave me a break from saving planets to go back to Earth and chillax for a little bit. But then, holy shit, my fucking city got 9/11. Oh, sorry. By choice of words.
It's already too late.
It's also way worse. It's like the whole city's gone. Everyone's
Yeah, and I really love the writer Gerard Jones.
Yeah. His Green Lantern run is fucking amazing.
Yeah, he basically, like Darryl suggested, they never really showed gravity of what happened here, except in this issue, where he's basically like, the souls of the dead basically are demanding me to fuck up this engine city, fuck up Mongol, just smash everything basically.
I like that a lot.
And we talk about like how I potentially like shonen. This is what I like about like shonen shit, where it's just one character full of rage, just fucking full of vengeance, just wanting to smash the fuck
And
out
this
of
fight
it.
rules.
Yeah.
Do you remember I was playing Asura's Wrath in college?
Yeah.
And people were watching it? It's like that feeling of like, there's nothing can stop my rage, my vengeance right now. Like
basically, Green Lantern flies in, saves Superman from Mongol, because Superman is wrecked by Mongol, and also Mongol also wrecked Supergirl, and so they're both wrecked. Green Lantern flies in, grabs Mongol, starts beating the shit out of him, and he's like, "Oh, you're beating the shit out of me and breaking my engine, but there's kryptonite powering this entire thing."
Yeah, and Mongol laughs at him and he says, "Laugh with your dying breath, Mongol."
And he says like, "Oh yeah, I'm laughing because you're gonna kill Superman by blowing up this engine." And Grant is like, "Oh fuck, I can't kill Superman." And Mongo's like, "You fucking idiot! Now I'm gonna beat the shit out of you."
He says, "All 7 million people died, and if I could just save my friend, it'll it'll be one less death."
This also reminded me that Green Lantern can't interact with Yellow.
Yeah, but actually, it's a very silly thing. But I actually like that how they explain, like, he wants to fucking just make Mongol explode, but he can't. He's fucking Yellow. This fucking piece of shit's Yellow, so I have to smash him with my bare hands, basically.
But during this fight, he also he gets his arm broken.
Yeah, I just wanted to illustrate the scene because it's beautiful. So basically, everyone thinks Steel's dead, and his hammer's lying on the ground.
Oh, it's awesome.
Mongol breaks Green Lantern's arm, breaks his legs, And Green Lantern goes picks up. He's like injured, limping. He goes to pick up Steel's hammer, and he starts forming a Green Lantern arm around him. And Mongo's like, "Oh, you're trying to use your ring to be able to lift the hammer, huh? But you need your will to do that. Too bad I broke that will." And Green Lantern says, "Mongo, you broke my leg, you broke my arm. My will is something you'll never touch." And basically, he forms a massive Green Lantern armor and smashes Mongo with the hammer so hard it breaks the hammer, and Mongo gets sent flying.
It's pretty awesome.
He like makes Green Lantern power armor basically,
Yeah.
so that he can now move and lift.
I think
that's
it's
really
awesome.
It's my
think so,
favorite
too.
issue of the whole entire story, and I really like the story.
Yeah,
It's really good.
cool.
And so now, final full issue, Superman 82.
So Superboy and Eradicator finally get there after all this shit has already happened, and Steel, we find out he's not dead. He comes out of the grinder, but his armor's all smashed up, and Cyborg Superman's like, "Do you remember me, Superman?" And he's like, "No, I don't know you." And he's like, "Yeah, you do." And he's like, "I am this guy." And
Superman says, like, I actually recognize the Eradicator because they have, like, a mental connection from the shit they did together.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I know you are. I don't trust you. Get the fuck out of here, Eradicator."
no, I meant he doesn't know who Cyborg is.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, then Eradicator shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'm Eradicator." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And he was like, "You're a villain, though." And he's like, "Not today, I'm not." And then he's like, "I'll get you once we're done with this." But then obviously they do the cliche: Eradicator saves Superman from something, and he's like, "You saved me. Maybe you're not a villain." And he's like, "I am not." And then
This is why I like Eradicator's journey, because basically he always viewed it as just like, I gotta save Krypton at any cost. But by being Superman and thinking like Superman, he started realizing Superman's appreciation for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some explanation in his backstory issue where he used to just be this like AI being, but after taking on like the persona, he actually took on human qualities completely, like, and integrated them in his mind. And
It's a good metaphor for like Superman's inspiration.
yeah. And so they go to the power source of this engine.
Oh,
which
this is also
just,
when the Eradicator like basically looks at the camera and he's like, "The way you got resurrected was such a specific event; it will definitely never be able to happen
Oh
again."
yeah, it was so like no
That was
subtlety
them saying,
there.
like,
They're-
guys, please be worried for Superman dying
Yeah.
again. Like this.
yeah,
could
they're
be
like
real.
Superman can only be resurrected
But
once.
he's saying to the reader, like, next time Superman's fighting somebody, don't be like, "Well, why doesn't he just do the regeneration thing?"
It just reminded me of like, we can only resurrect someone with the Dragon Balls once.
But it's one of those things that's like dumb but kind of necessary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can't just leave it open because people will always bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So they go to the power source, which is this big kryptonite that powers the whole engine.
Only Superman and Eradicator get there. Everyone else basically gets fucked up by Cyborg fucking around with the.
Yeah, I feel poor Steel is trying to get there, and then Cyborg Superman's head just appears out, and he starts killing him with his own armor.
Yeah.
That's the head I was talking about. How it's like a little guy, just like, "Hey,
Yep.
I'm here."
But then then the steel armor gets beaten by Superboy's tactile telekinesis.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I have a new power." And so in the chamber is just like Sly said, Eradicator, Superman, and Cyborg Superman. And he's like, "I know what I can do," and he takes a hose basically and starts just spraying the kryptonite out of it at Superman and Eradicator.
Yeah, they're in the chamber with the giant kryptonite shard that's powering Engine City.
So he's like, "I'll drain this entire thing just to kill you guys.
Yeah.
And even if it kills me, I don't give a shit." And he just starts spraying it at Superman. Eradicator, being the preserver of Krypton, jumps in the way. And you basically see this really cool image of like, it looks like just crazy radiation washing over Eradicator, and then behind him,
It's like this
like,
rainbow spray of
Yeah.
light hitting Superman.
Yeah, and everyone Cyborg thinks like Eradicator is wasting his time because the beam's still hitting Superman, and they're both still dying anyway. And the narration does say like they're both screaming in pain, and it seems like the radiation is still killing Superman despite Eradicator's sacrifice.
Yeah, which would have been really lame if Superman comes back from the dead just to die again.
Yeah. Especially because
But-
the regenerative matrix will never work again.
Yeah, and so basically the kryptonite, he completely drains it. The smoke settles, and Superman stands up, and they're like, "What the fuck?" You see Eradicator's like drained body,
Yeah.
and they're like, "How did he survive this?" But it turns out that as the kryptonite was spraying at them, it passed through Eradicator's body, and since he's some weird energy being, it like transformed it
He
into.
Eradicator purposely transformed it, so basically, through that weird process, it gave Superman not only his powers back, but his powers amplified.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just explodes Cyborg after that.
Yeah. Literally, like he shakes his arm.
punches right through his chest.
Yeah, he punches through his chest and he's like, "You can't kill me. I'll always come back." And he's like, "If I vibrate my arm at ultrasonic speeds," and he's like, "Wait," and he literally shatters him into like dust.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And then Supergirl shows up
And gives him his costume back somehow.
Well, telekinesis bullshit. Like they always have that in comics where I guess his costume skin too. I guess.
I'm a raisin man.
Take some of my skin, Superman.
He's like a raisin man tailor. He's like just gives people skin. And then he flies back to Metropolis, and
Everyone else goes to clean up the shit. And they say, "You go back to Metropolis. You've been through a lot of shit, Superman."
Yeah.
And there's a nice scene because earlier in the story arc, like Lois sort of tapping at her window, and it was like nothing. It
was a bird.
And she's like Clark always used or Superman always used to come and do this and wake me up. And then there's a rapping at the window while she's sleeping.
And she's like, "Fucking birds!"
Yeah.
A rapping at my chamber door.
Yeah.
And
Tacking.
And then she opens the window, and it's Superman, and they have a nice in-air kiss.
Yeah. And she says she's in his arms, faster than a speeding bullet.
Yeah.
And that's when we get to the epilogue.
The epilogue is so short. It's basically just like Superman now moves some buildings, and he's like, "Hey, look, Clark Kent, LOL." He's been under here
I
for
love
a
this.
month.
For like over a month.
Yeah.
They're like, "Wow, crazy."
To be fair, the full issues, like one thing I have to praise this comic, this trade. More trades should do this, where they edited out like 3 books worth of material down to like 10 pages. And in the issue where Superman and Lois reunite, they actually get the idea for this concept because Superman actually finds other survivors in the rubble, and they found like they had I forgot how they survived, but basically there's like a water supply underneath somewhere. And then they did this shit in Dark Knight Rises too. So if
It's called Your Pee.
Yeah.
yeah, your P.
No, it happens. It happens.
I read that issue and I did enjoy it. It also has another good joke that it cut out where Superman's thinking to Lois, he's like, "How are we gonna make like Clark come back? Like maybe we'll say he got washed out to sea or was abducted by aliens."
Yeah, they have a bunch of funny joke scenes.
And then later on when they find when someone asks Superman, it's like Jimmy asks him, it's like, "Oh man, I wish we could find Clark." And he's like, "You never know, he could be out at sea or abducted by aliens."
That's pretty funny.
But just to make a long story short, Supergirl basically pretended to be Clark Kent.
And the whole epilogue is very like, everything's back to normal, yay!
7 million people are dead still.
The only thing though is when Supergirl turns back into Superman, when Superman turns back into Supergirl, Clark Kent's like, "I was getting jealous with you with my woman," and
Yeah.
then Supergirl gives like a feminist lecture, and she's like, "What do you mean your woman?"
Lois does that. Lois does say, "What do you mean you're a woman?"
No, but I think doesn't
No, Lois says, "What do you mean you're a woman?" Supergirl says, "You go tell him. You go, girl,
yeah,
Lois."
so Supergirl's like, "Yeah, stand up for yourself," and then she's like, "I gotta go back to Lex. He's very controlling, and I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to do anything without his."
I can't leave the house unless under curfew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
I have to
what
be
it is.
invisible and sneak away to carry Superman.
And also the editor also ended the story on a nice note where Supergirl flies off saying, "Maybe I'll live happily ever after," and Superman and Lois embrace and they say, "Or die trying." I think that's a nice note to end it on.
Yeah, I think the ending's pretty solid. So that's it. We finished it.
Yeah.
We did it, guys.
Woo! Death, funeral, rain, return.
So Darryl's the only person who was reading it for the first time. How does it hold up? Did we hype it too much?
This?
Yeah.
Is it a good story or is it a bad story?
It was a story.
Well, one thing I like about this story is literally Darryl's opinion is not as equally as valid as Ryan, mine, Phil's, because we all this is what all of ours, one of our first comic stories we ever read.
Yeah.
So when all this shit that Darryl would say might turn him off, when we read it, I had no problem with, and I will say the main reason why I love the story more than Death of Superman is because Death of Superman is a story where you might like it, but it won't necessarily get you into other comics. Where I feel this is a story that really gets you interested in reading more material from.
I think it opens up the world a little.
You know what, Sly? I 100% agree with you.
Yay!
Which is why I didn't like this story.
Wait, why?
Well, not like I didn't like. I was still like okay with it, but this was very comic booky. Like, especially when they get into describing people's motives and their backstories, and they're like, "It was in this issue that this happened. It was in this issue that this happened." And then it's like 7 million people die, but it's like, let's care more about like what we're supposed to do with the plot and how all these characters connect and interact. Where I was most intrigued during the funeral part because I wanted to see how people reacted to a world without Superman. Like, I'm way more into utilizing a very unique or clever or interesting idea and seeing what comes out of that rather than just telling like a normal kind of comic book plot. Like as soon as Cyborg Superman's revealed to be the villain, that's when it got comic booky.
No, that's true. That's true. But I think overall we enjoyed the whole saga, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say it's like for like a if you like comics, it's cool to see all these characters get together, and it's like a rah-rah when they're inside Engine City going through and destroying stuff. It's great to see them do that, and you're cheering for the good guys.
I also recommend if you read this, read Death and Return, and don't read World Without.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, so cool. I hope you guys liked our long, epic saga. I know I certainly did, even if Darryl hated it.
I didn't hate it.
I know.
I
I'm
hate
kidding,
actors.
I'm kidding.
He hates Death of Superman. I mean,
So I just want to briefly mention to rate, review, subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. We got 2 reviews from 2 different Matthews, one of which was very, very nice, and the other one called us a bunch of assholes, so it worked out. I think it balances, but they're both 5 stars, so thank you guys very much. And, as always, you can tweet at us, email us, all that stuff. And I wanted to give a quick plug to the Comrade Radio Network. I want to mention APOC because they just did an episode on Crash that Darryl has a lot of things to say about, so you should talk to us about it in the Comrade Facebook group. And they also did an episode on a Coen Brothers movie, which is Malcolm's favorite directors, and they'd never done one before. So after 2 years, they finally did one. I recommend it. And you can check out that and all the other great shows at comraderadio.com. And quick plug, I don't think I mentioned it, but a couple weeks ago, I was on a podcast called The Songs That Saved Your Life, and it's one of my favorite podcasts. I really had a fun time, so you should check that out. And this week, I will be guesting on Wings, that's WH6EsNGS, a very sincere podcast that's definitely about Wings, the sitcom, and not a joke at all. And I had a lot of fun with that, too, so you should listen to that. It is my favorite podcast right now, so I hope you like it.
not us. I thought we were your favorite podcast.
No, we suck.
Yeah, that's true.
Any other things you guys want to plug or mention?
We're moving into the holiday season, so I hope you guys are having a happy holiday season and expect a really cool episode from us next week? Question mark?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
Happy holidays from us at Divisive Issues.
Merry Christmas, you fucking PC bullshit.
There'll also be an APOC Christmas special that you might hear us pop up on. Maybe.
You hear us pop up.
Maybe. The fact that you call it that means you're not ready, Sly.
And so thank you guys so much for listening to Divisive Issues. I've been right behind you.
I've been Cyborg Superman's tiny metal heads.
Oh, man. You always take the good ones.
I've been a pair of Carnage globes.
And I've been Superman's raisin suit.
Stay in continuity.